Few conflicts in human history are as ancient, profound, and controversial as the one between Israel and Palestine. This is not just a political or territorial dispute. It is a story laden with divine promises, human choices, and historical events that have shaped the destiny of millions of people. Did you know it all began thousands of years ago in a context that intertwines faith, culture, and land? Let's dive into the origins of this story, exploring how the past shaped the present and how this region became an epicenter of global tensions. Today, we will travel through time, from biblical accounts to the events that transformed this region into one of the most contested places in the world. Get ready for a journey that is not only fascinating, but essential to understand the roots of one of the greatest challenges of our era. Understanding what is at stake here is not just a historical matter, but also a spiritual and human one. It all begins with Abraham, a patriarch revered by three major religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. God made a promise to Abraham that his descendants would inherit the land of Canaan, a fertile and strategic land that would become the focus of countless disputes. But this promise came with challenges that would echo through generations. Abraham had two sons, Ishmael, born to Hagar, and Isaac, the son of Sarah. God promised blessings to both, but the land of Canaan was destined for the descendants of Isaac, the Israelites. Meanwhile, Ishmael's descendants became the ancestors of Arab nations. This initial division laid the foundation for a tension that would span millennia. These divine promises, passed down from generation to generation, carried a sense of entitlement and identity. For Isaac's descendants, it was the fulfillment of a sacred covenant. For Ishmael's descendants, it was the hope of a grand blessing. But as the nations grew, so did the rivalries and disputes over who truly deserved to inhabit this promised land. The story of Abraham is a powerful metaphor for how promises and expectations can shape not only the destiny of individuals, but of entire peoples. Over the centuries, this initial tension would be amplified by political, cultural, and religious factors, evolving into one of humanity's greatest dilemmas. In the Old Testament, we see how Israel faced various peoples to establish itself in the Promised Land. The Canaanites, Amorites, Jebusites, and, most notably, the Philistines were formidable enemies. Each confrontation was not just a territorial battle, but a reaffirmation of identity and faith. The battle between David and Goliath symbolizes far more than individual courage. It reflects Israel's struggle to assert its place in a land full of challenges and adversaries. This well-known story illustrates what it means to persevere amid overwhelming adversities. Even after Israel's consolidation as a kingdom, instability remained. The land of Canaan, rich in resources and strategically located, continued to be a target of invasions and disputes for centuries. Each invasion was a reminder of the fragility of possessing something so precious and coveted. Meanwhile, biblical accounts also show how faith guided the people in times of uncertainty. The Psalms, for instance, reflect the prayers and hopes of a people who never gave up their connection to the Promised Land. This spiritual connection is one of the reasons why Israel's story is so unique and impactful. With the destruction of the Temple of Jerusalem by the Romans in 70 AD, the Jewish people were scattered across the world. This diaspora marked the beginning of a long period of Jewish absence from the land they called home. Meanwhile, the region underwent a succession of conquests: Romans, Byzantines, and, from the 7th century onward, Muslim Arabs. Each conquest shaped not only the physical landscape, but also the cultural and spiritual identity of the region. Under Muslim rule, Jerusalem gained significance as the third holiest site in Islam. This new dynamic further shaped the region's identity, tying it to Arab faith and culture. At the same time, the city continued to be a symbol of hope for Jews scattered around the world. Jews in the diaspora maintained their traditions, always nurturing the hope of returning to the Promised Land. This longing manifested in prayers, festivals, and the passing down of stories to future generations. Despite the distance, the spiritual connection was never broken. This coexistence between different religions and cultures was not always peaceful, but at many moments it was marked by exchanges and mutual learning that enriched the region's history. Understanding these periods of interaction is essential to appreciate the complexity of the current conflict. In the 20th century, after centuries of marginalization and persecution, the Jewish people saw an opportunity to return to their ancestral land. The Balfour Declaration in 1917 expressed British support for the establishment of a Jewish national home in Palestine. This promise rekindled hopes, but also brought tensions. The creation of the State of Israel in 1948 was a historic milestone. But for Palestinians, it represented the loss of their land and the beginning of mass displacement. This duality of hope and tragedy marks the start of the modern conflict, which continues to impact lives to this day. Since then, the region has been the stage for wars, failed peace negotiations, and constant tension between two peoples claiming the same land as their home. The question remains, how can we find a path to peace in such a divided scenario? Understanding the modern conflict requires looking at the past and the personal stories that define each side. These stories show us that behind every tension there is humanity, pain, and hope. The conflict between Israel and Palestine is, above all, a human tragedy. It reflects the complexity of our history and the challenges of reconciling ancient promises with modern realities. But more than that, it is a reminder of how much we need to seek understanding and compassion. The Bible offers us a message of hope. In Matthew 5:9, Jesus reminds us, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God." This is a call to action for all of us to seek dialogue, understanding, and peace. Perhaps the greatest lesson we can draw from this story is the importance of recognizing our shared humanity. Before we are Israelites or Palestinians, Jews or Arabs, we are all children of God. And in this recognition lies the true hope for the future. If you found this story enriching, subscribe to our channel. Here we explore the historical and spiritual roots of the most relevant topics of our faith and the world. Leave a like, share this video, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any content. Together, we can learn more and build bridges of understanding. Thank you for watching. May peace be with you and see you in the next video.